It's absolutely the jungle of mini PCs out there. And what I find very intriguing were these, like, say, Zulu products. I have never seen, never heard of them. There was a completely new company out there making mini PCs. There was something completely different. And that was what really intriguing me with these things. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. So there were actually 3 models. I only got 2 of them, didn't matter. I was very pleased with it to have actually finding 2 of them. So we're having the Lite, the Pro and the Max. Both were basically having Ryzen 5 chipsets, and it was kind of surprising, but also at the same time kind of let's say, a disappointment. They're not like super bad, but when you're actually seeing them when it comes to over emulation, you can play so many cool things. But of course the competition, it's so extreme, and there are so many different companies out there actually making, let's say, mini PCs, not like the same one like the Zulus, but with better specifications. And also when it comes to the price point, they were not cheap at all. But again, if you need to buy something that is very strange looking, yeah, it also comes with a price most of the time, like magic. And here we are with the 2 most coolest looking, let's say, mini PCs that I basically reviewed. And I must say that this is absolutely one of my favorite products to use. Nevertheless, I think this is the light version. I'm still using it nowadays. I'm bringing this into the game parties with my friends, and they were at least flabbergasted seeing this for the first time, asking me, is this actually a mini PC or a PC? Yep, it is. And they were so surprised, and they loved it too, because this thing is not maybe the most powerhouse out there. This is particularly, by the way, the Lite. This is the Pro, and this Lite version is just good enough to play, let's say, some indie games and some older AAA games. I'm always leaving the plastics on, by the way. So this is a company that was releasing brand new mini PCs, and I was really intrigued back in the day, what can we actually do when it comes to emulation performance. But with this very strange looking, let's say, shell and the construction they made this is maybe one of those, let's say, smaller but very powerful devices out there. But both of the devices have absolutely a very cool case in different kind of colors. I went for the green color when it comes to the Lite version. And for the more powerful one, I just want to have the blue version. Blue is my favorite color. Yeah. Nevertheless, there are 2 freaking awesome devices. But let's do a chit chat about the Lite version first. Oh, let's put it aside. And let's take a close look at it. Let's do a quick overview and what I think of it. But let's first talk about the specifications. The processor we're going to get is the AMD Ryzen 3 5300U. It's not the most powerful one. It comes with 4 core and 8 threads. Base frequency with turbo, the 2.6 GHz stable and 3.8 GB of turbo, AMD Ryzen RX Vega 6 and DDR4 3200 MHz dual channel. Nevertheless, the specification list is not the latest out there, but I really wonder how far we can push it and what can we actually play. But that's not all, let's take a close look at the other compartment, what are we actually going to get. So here we're having the manual. I must say the smallest Ryzen based PC in the world. It's quite a bold statement, but so far I know this is actually true. Let me know in the comments if you have found another one that is basically different and smaller. But here we're going to see the different colors you can get. The Storm White is also very cool with the Battleship Gray. A lot of cool looking different colors. Going to get some stickers, and here the mini desktop PC quick guide. Let's see, here we're going to get a filter, and the filter that we're going to basically place in here for getting the dust out. It's quite interesting that they give you this. And here we're going to get ourselves all the other information. There's some foldable manual. I really hate these things, by the way. But just and give you a quick explanation how you need to connect everything. What is kind of cool, they're going to get actually a very nice looking HDMI cable with this. Man, look at this. But what is really a cool novelty, at the front we're going to get a very tiny display that will showcase the fan speed, but also the temperature itself. I'm particularly going to use this thing for indie games and just for party games. One of the old ones is Blaze Rush, and this game runs of course without any problem on even a lower powered AMD Ryzen chipset. And this game, oh boy, I can tell you, this is a lot of fun. Top, of course, Sonic Mania, another game that is not super demanding, but just wanted to check out how great or bad it will run on this mini PC. Fun cooperative game is one of those games like Hunt Down. You can just enjoy them together with a friend, old school like back in the 90s.
Watch out! Bounty on us!
Come here, I'll show you.
So okay, when it comes to, let's say, old-school AAA games, let's say in Street Fighter 4, I still love to play. These games will run absolutely great on 1080p and everything set to the highest setting. And I think when you're loving, like me, the old fighting games or other games, they will run absolutely amazing even on a low-spec AMD Ryzen chipset.
Show me everything you have to offer. Are you ready? Fight! Sonic Boom! Do not hesitate. Sonic Boom!
But if you're going to get in the latest games, there we're going to have a lot of trouble. You need to get it to very low settings, otherwise you're not going to get playable situations. And in my opinion, that is quite fortunate if you love to play an adventure game like Crash Bandicoot the Trilogy. So low resolution, everything put to low, you're still going to get not very long loading times and also an overall performance that is still playable between 50 and 60 FPS. Some emulation, and when it comes to the old school stuff all the way up to Sega Saturn, it's no problem whatsoever, where I want to focus on some systems like PlayStation 2 to begin with. And I can tell you, even on a low spec system like this, it runs pretty damn great.
Here we go.
Round 1. Fight.
With PlayStation Portable and the PP SSPP emulator, I needed to mess around with it. I couldn't get this thing to run on full resolution, or in other words, like 10 times resolution, like we have seen with some of the system that was reviewed here on the channel. Due of like the lack of power, we need to scale it all the way back to 6 times. We have some dips with some cutscenes, but beside that, we did have a very good overall playable gameplay.
You're mine!
1080p, I just wanted to see about how we can play some Xbox Classic. But I think when you're looking in the era of PlayStation 2, Xbox Classic, GameCube, you were going to have amazing performance even on this low power chip. And that's, I think, very surprising. And especially because this thing is so small, it's going to be absolutely great. But if you want to go into the Xbox 360, this device is not powerful enough. So there we're going to meet his limitations. And if you want to play stuff like this, we need to have way more power. So the light version of the Xulu is not the way to go to. It's just fun all the way up to, let's say, the Xbox, PlayStation 2 and GameCube. And some PlayStation 3 gaming, of course. The more powerful version, so there has like a slightly better overall performance when it comes to the games, but also how is with the emulation. The first game I wanted to try out is just a basic indie game where I also play on the light version. This is Mini Motor Racing X, and this has been set to 1080p, all settings to the highest. Nevertheless, this game runs absolutely epic, a fun game to play. And I think when you're looking into like indie gaming, party games, with a machine like this you can just play them all, and even on higher resolutions. But if you are like me and you just want to play some old school games like this Outrun 2006 Coast to Coast, this runs absolutely perfectly on a mini PC like this. And there are so many thousands of games you can actually play on full speed on higher resolutions. But if you're going to deep dive into some more demanding games, AAA games, think about a Soul Calibur. This runs very well on 1080p. But when I'm looking into the ultra and medium settings, we need to do a little bit tweaking all the way back from ultra and high to medium, because if you're not going to do this, we do have like a mixed performance running around 40 FPS. Another game I love to play and test is Crash Bandicoot Trilogy, but where the Lite had a lot of problems running this, with this particular version we have a better performance. With in combination of 1080p, all everything set to low, we do have okay performance with around 40-45 FPS. It's not the best overall experience. If we lower the resolution, we can have an even better, maybe 60 FPS in the end. But the question remains, what kind of resolution do you want to play this particular game? Getting into the emulation, there we do have absolutely great performance. PlayStation 2 is one of those systems that can be played without any problem. So I think it's pretty damn cool to have like a mini PC in this size, and just you can actually play all of your PlayStation games on the go without any problem whatsoever. Next up, some God of War Chains of Olympus for the PlayStation Portable with the PPSPP emulator, 8x resolution. Tried 10 times, but then we're going to get frame dips to the 40-50, and I find it not really enjoyable. So 8x is the max resolution that this thing can handle. Another system that runs quite well is the Castlevania game for the PlayStation 3. Not the most demanding game out there, but just want to random pick one of my favorite games. And I can tell you that this particular game runs very well. And the overall performance is just really enjoyable. I don't notice a lot of re-rendering in the game itself. So this chipset is just more than powerful enough to run your favorite PlayStation 3 games. Of course, depending what kind of game. And again, it's quite interesting to see that such a tiny device has the power enough nowadays to run PlayStation 3. Amazing performance, GameCube F-Zero GX on 1080p resolution. I've been trying to upscale it a little bit further, but I did notice when you're going to do this, it's going to get ourselves 40-50 FPS. And in my opinion, it's unforgivable, especially when you're playing a fast game like this. Nevertheless, if you just want to play some 1080p GameCube, that's also possible with this tiny Xulu device. With some Sonic colors with the Wii, we do have like a great performance on the tiny Xulu mini PC. For me, the Lite is absolutely more than enough. So when you're looking at all the positive and the negative sides, yeah, you need to decide for yourself, is this thing really worth picking up? Though that covers everything when it comes to the Xulu. The product itself is a very cool, unique design. I'm personally using the Lite particular version for indie games and just bring this thing easy with me in the carrying case. It's such a cool idea, and again, with the limitation of the power, there is still a lot of stuff that we can actually play.